I really value Jewish education. Now, I'm a Jewish educator, so I guess you'd expect me to say that. But the truth is, when I looked into it a bit more, it's really clear to see that we as a Jewish people really value Jewish learning and Jewish life. It's part of our collective DNA. In fact, you could say it's not just what we do, it really is who we are. But the question I want to look at tonight is, how do we as a Jewish community really value Jewish learning and living in the 21st century? You see, most of the work that I do is with Jewish teenagers. And about Jewish teenagers, I hear it all the time. They don't care and they're too busy. They're so busy doing so many things they never want to come to any Jewish activity. They're so busy doing sports and music and SAT prep, there's not a chance we're going to get them engaged in any form of Jewish learning or living whatsoever. And if that wasn't enough, then I hear it from their parents. Their parents don't care enough. They don't care enough to send them to Jewish day schools or send them off to Jewish summer camp or take them to Israel. The parents don't care enough. Well, you know, I want to flip it a bit. I want to try and take another look at this enigma of the Jewish teenager. You know what? It's not that teenagers are too busy. It's that they're too busy doing something else. It's not that parents don't care too much. In fact, our parents probably care way too much. It's perhaps they don't care about the things that we as a community are really offering them. And tonight I want to focus on the word of value, because I think this value word is really, really important. And ask the question, what are we offering that Jews today truly value? So up until now, I've been speaking about value as something that's really important, something that we cherish, something that we really hold dear to us. But now I want to try and juxtapose that with another definition of value, that being the cost that we associate with it. Now, I know that there's not always a direct connection between value and cost. But the truth is, in today's Western society, more and more often not, people are willing to pay for something that they value. So now I'm asking the question of, what is it in the community that we're really willing to pay for? Now, specifically today, I want to look at the notion of the absence of cost. That's right. I want to look at what happens when we offer things for free, for nothing, for nada, for zilch, for FS. When things that are offered for free, what happens to us as a Jewish community? Now, you, like me, probably enjoy going to the supermarket and walking down those aisles, especially when there are free samples on offer. It's one of my highlights. How many samples can you actually get in any given shopping trip? Now, if you're like me, you also watch cable TV. And when there comes an offer of a free channel on television, you'll get that free subscription because you know it's going to be really worth it to watch those extra channels on TV. And if you were like me, you also enjoyed getting the New York Times delivered free onto your iPad so you could read it every morning. All of these things are free, and many of us probably enjoy them all the time. But then a strange thing happened. I began to notice that after shopping in all these supermarkets with all these free samples on offer, that my supermarket cart was filled with a whole lot of things that I really didn't want, based on what I'd already sampled. And then I looked at my next cable bill, and I noticed that I now had automatically been subscribed to a whole array of channels that I didn't really watch anymore, primarily because it was just more of an effort to get rid of those channels than it was to actually continue with the old package. And then the New York Times, well, this was the worst. Here I am reading the New York Times as I do every morning, and all of a sudden, one morning, out of nowhere, pops up that dreaded screen. You have reached your monthly quota. Oy. So I have to make a decision. A $5 a month decision. Month 1 goes by, no subscription. Month 2, no. Month 3, you guessed it, I'm now a digital subscriber to the New York Times. I needed to translate my free experience into a premium one. What just happened? A few moments ago, I was talking to you about free. And now I'm here talking to you about things that I pay for, because I think that I really need them. I want to be really clear. I don't want to get too personal today. I don't want to single out any individuals, any foundations by name, any particular philanthropies, any particular federations, But let's just say you might know who I'm talking about. And I want to talk about this notion of free because I really think that the cost is too great in the Jewish community now of these free products that are now really destabilising Jewish community and Jewish life and living as we know it. Some might claim that what I'm about to do tonight is professional suicide. I'm willing to take that chance amongst friends, here and online, and let's see where it goes. So I'm not that good with money. My wife will attest to that. But I have been studying about all of these behavioural economists, and they've taught me 4 important things about the notion of free. 1, free actually adds value. 2, there's no such thing as a free lunch. 3, people do crazy things for free. And 4, free has consequences. Let's look at each of these individually. Free actually adds value. Well, common sense would tell us that free means that you don't value what it is that you're getting for nothing. You think that when you're just giving it away, why would you bother wanting to pay for it later on? But here's where we've got it all wrong. For starters, it's essential for all of us to realise that in today's world, young people are becoming more and more accustomed to the notion of free, especially in a digital age. Chris Anderson, in his book called Free, speaks about bands who used to have to be paid by venues to perform, now paying the venues to put them on stage. Why? Because they realise that the exposure that they're going to get by performing in front of those audiences will actually lead to further benefits down the track through merchandise and, most importantly, downloads of their music. But here's the catch. Free only adds value if it's connected to something else. People today are increasingly becoming aware that free only provides them with basic access. And if they like what they've been given as that basic access package, then, if the interest so gets them, they're likely to translate that into a premium package. You see, free is not the absence of value. It's the low barrier entry point to something which you may value later on by further investing in it. Free actually adds value if it's seen in the larger context. If there is no larger context, we're basically throwing it away for nothing. Number 2, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, what does that mean? Someone is actually paying for anything that is given away for free. Someone is giving you that option to do that is for free and allowing the third party not to have to hand over any money. There is always someone paying for free. So in essence, what free is doing is not offering a product for free, it's getting someone else to pay for that product instead of you. And almost by definition it means that that money is going somewhere and not somewhere else. Well, who's making those decisions? Who in the Jewish world is actually deciding what should be given for free and what should be paid for? People do crazy things for free. Dan Ariely, in his book Predictably Irrational, talks about this quite a lot. Free gives us an emotional charge that we perceive what is being offered as immensely more valuable than it really is. Why? I think it's because humans are intrinsically afraid of loss. The real allure of free is tied to this fear. There's no visible possibility of loss when we choose a free item. It's free. The unlimited movie cinemas in the Netherlands offered moviegoers a chance to get a year's supply of movie tickets. All they needed to do was get tattooed on their body a logo of the cinema. And guess what? Hundreds of people did it. You see, free tells us absolutely nothing about what people like, about what their interests are, about what they value. It only tells us that people will do crazy things when something is offered for free. Number 4, free has consequences. Free never occurs in a vacuum, and we must accept that it has consequences. Now, some of us could argue, na'aseh v'nishma, let's just get them to do something, and then we can talk about it afterwards and reflect upon it later on, and then it'll become part of the broader context. But the problem is that most of the products being offered in the Jewish world today that are given away for free have no broader context. They're developed in isolation, deliberately. Why? Because the people who are making those products available for free are literally saying they want no strings attached. They don't want to have to deal with anything else other than just getting people engaged in those programs, because their fear is that no one will join them, no one will participate if they actually ask for people to pay money to access them. Now, people, especially those funding those programs and those conducting the research who are also funded by those funding those programs, will tell us that participation is better than non-participation. You know what? They may be right. But who gave them the right to make that judgment on what is best for Klal Yisrael? So what does all of this mean for us here today? First, I dare anybody to go away from today saying, Bryfman said that free products in the Jewish community are a waste of money. I believe that there are some critical examples out there that some of you and I know very well that are probably the most significant and transformative events, most transformative programs that the Jewish world has ever witnessed. But in a vacuum, they are potentially disastrous. And second, we have to be honest with ourselves. Who were these free programs originally intended to attract? Were they there to try and attract those that could afford programs at some cost? Or were they there to try and attract those people that could be persuaded by the psychology of free? It's impossible for us as a community to send this mixed message that we value Jewish life, that we value commitment, that we value meaningful encounters, and at the same time say the bookends of most insignificant pieces of Jewish life, of the life spectrum, will give it away for nothing. That doesn't make sense. Not logically, not psychologically, and not behaviourally. Now please, don't even get me started on those organisations that literally pay people to engage Jews in learning or ritual. That's a whole other story, worthy of another talk at another time. So congratulations to all of you out there who have managed to get large numbers on your free programs. All you've managed to do is prove the point that people will do absolutely anything for free. And the numbers are staggering. But now ask yourselves, why would anyone who's been thrown free Jewish life milestones now all of a sudden think that they're valuable enough to pay for others of more or greater significance? So what am I asking of today? Are we as a community brave enough to hit pause, if not reset? Can we take a step back and look at the consequences of free and see if we can utilise its undoubted power, its magnitude, to really transform the Jewish people as a whole? Now, I'm humble enough to acknowledge that I could be wrong. Free might be exactly what the Jewish world needs right now. But what if I'm not? What if I'm right? What happens in a decade's time when now all of a sudden we're asking people to pay for things that we as a community value, and they simply refuse to do so for themselves or their children? Free, it's not sustainable, it's not long-term viable, doesn't even really make sense. So what I need all of you to consider today, what's the Jewish equivalent of the New York Times that you're now willing to pay your premium access pass for? And most importantly, What do you see as the value of Jewish living and learning in the 21st century? Thank you.